Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SpyParty Masters Championship cast. I'm Corvus Mallory, and I'm joined by my co-caster Spedmonkey.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be here.
And on the analyst desk, we have PwnNoob.
They gave me glasses this time. Howdy, guys.
We've got a match today between Rav and Nebula. These two players are the Cup winners for this season. Rav, of course, winning Winter Cup, and Nebula winning Summer Cup just about a month ago. So these players at the absolute top of their games, I think we can expect a highly consequential match today. Now, of course, we'll dig into all of that as we go through the analysis, but just to set the stage, this is the Champions Round Robin stage of SMC 2022. These players qualified directly into Champions Round Robin by placing highly in the SMC qualification ladder. Now, they have to play a round robin with this group that is Rav, Nebula, Legorv, and Lev T. Lev T, of course, qualifying through the Challengers bracket. And the top two out of this group will advance to the Champions semifinals. You can see there, getting out of groups is guaranteeing at least a $100 prize, and third in groups is $50. So all the placement in the groups will be consequential. Pretty much every match in the groups is likely to be consequential in some way or other, but I think it's probably fair to say that this match between these two titans has a high likelihood of determining first and second out of groups.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely a fair point. We were chatting a little bit before this cast started about how, in some order, Rav, Nebula, and Legorv are probably three of the top 3 or 4 players currently active. So you could expect to see that, realistically, the winner of this is going to have a huge leg up on making it out of this group.
All right, well, before we get into the details of these players, let's take a quick look at their draft for this match. This is a best of 16, and all 16 games will be played because we use those extra games for tiebreaks in groups. We have bans on Courtyard and Moderne, restricts onto High Rise and Ballroom, doubled Veranda, doubled Aquarium, singled Ballroom and singled Taeyen, and then singled Redwoods and singled Gallery to round things out. We will see all of those matches.
Yeah, interesting note here is that both these players have a history of banning Balcony, but against each other, neither of them so much as touched it, suggesting that there's some serious oppo research going on, and both willing to take the gamble that the other player will stick to trends and not pick that against them, and it held true.
Yeah, I'm also interested in the Veranda pick as a double, because Veranda has been so sniper biased, it's going to be hard to get necessarily the 3 wins that you expect to be getting from your double from the historical results we've had so far.
All right, well, we have all these games to play, but before we even get to them, let's talk about these players. And Pwn, as our analyst, walk us through a little bit about what we should know about Rav.
So with Rav, we've seen a ton of success. It's all on screen, but the real nasty thing is we actually have a player who is having this 80% plus sort of sniper rate while also backing it up with the spy. When we've seen players previously have this level of success with the sniper, it's not always been followed up with a spy, at least as consistent as Rav has been. Rav has definitely been the most successful player, but I think from players who've also just played Rav, they also do feel that he is the top player currently. We do have the SMC seed 2, with Lazy Bear getting the first seed, but I think Rav is definitely the player that people are fearing the most. It's the sniper that we're really going to be talking about. It's this sort of like tennis serve, where you need to be breaking Rav's sniper to have a chance to win, but for the highlight I brought, it's actually from SCL, and it's going to be on the spy side. Just to set this highlight up, we are the spy. We've had a very comfortable game because we got an early swap unseen by the sniper, but we ate a highlight and also had safety off after we did a fake banana bread. So we are very much top suspect, and unfortunately for Rav, the plan A, the double agent, is at statue. So let's see how they handle this. So with the double agent ad statues, Rav finds an alternative way here with a sip BB, sipping during the banana bread to set up for the bug, and the bug is unseen, and the ambassador leaves shortly after. The safety is going to come off in general, but it's all inconsequential. Rav finds a way here after having the safety off on them earlier, being the top suspect, and everything going wrong at the end to still find a way to win his spy. And we've seen a lot of success. We've seen 7-0s from Rav, where his incredibly solid sniper has been backed up by a spy that's able to find these plays. Moving on to Nebula. If Rav is our number 1, I think Nebula might be our number 2. Currently, with a win yesterday over Legorv Janine, they're in the driver's seat for this group. If they can beat Rav, they are all but guaranteed to make it into the final bracket. That's going to be a tough ask, but I've asked around, and I think Nebula is considered to be the hottest spy in SpyParty currently. And with the hottest spy facing the hottest sniper, we haven't had that sort of narrative since maybe SCL 3 with Kaylee versus KCM. It's a ridiculous thing to have happen in the groups before we even reach the finals. This could still be the final if both these players get out of the group. With Nebula, it's going to come down to if they can snipe cleanly. If they can get 7 snipes, 8 snipes on Rav, then they can break this Rav spy. They just need to break the sniper. This could honestly be a 14-15 snipe game, and it come down to who loses on spy. For Nebula, though, the highlight I have is actually from yesterday against Legorv. They've been making it a bit interesting, and starting off, our spy is low-lit. This is the second game in a row that Nebula low-lit the spy. The spy just did microfilm at the bookcase and is now finishing off on Prince. Gets high-lit, and as overtime beeping starts, somehow finds the shot with like 2 seconds left on the mission win countdown. It was quite interesting just watching the set. If you haven't already, I suggest perhaps going back to it because it was a fantastic set. But this is the second game that Nebula low-lit the spy. If you looked at the results, they were the only highlight at the end of the game. For Nebula in this particular game, there was so few suspects that they were able to find this shot. And if you look historically at people who have been able to take these overtime shots when they don't really know who the spy is, it is about random. This is a fantastic shot. This might not be Nebula's favorite highlight, but it is mine because it is a way that if Nebula is able to recover the few games that they are otherwise dropping as sniper, then it just comes down to their spy side. It's going to be interesting. I think we'll talk about predictions here shortly, but this is a unmovable force meeting a unstoppable object sort of game that we're going to be watching.
All right, well, as you mentioned, going into predictions, of course, this is one of the hardest parts of the stream, but it has to be done, and I guess I'll go first. I think everything that we've seen from Nebula recently has been very strong. Nebula has been on a huge upswing, of course, winning Summer Cup. Rav, of course, has looked maybe a little bit more vulnerable than people were expecting with the loss to Screwloose in Summer Cup. But I think it's fair to say Rav, having won 48 of his last 49 SpyParty matches, I don't know how far back in history you have to go to find something like that, but I suspect it's quite some distance. And that includes, by the way, a win over Nebula. So I'm going to have to give this one to Rav with a 10-6 scoreline.
Now that's interesting. So my brain wants to go with Rav, but my heart wants to pick Nebula because I am someone who enjoys a goofy spy, as does Pwned, I'm sure. But I think I still have to go with Rav as well. I'll call it 9-7, but either way, yeah, I would not be shocked to see this go either way.
In every game of SMC during this final bracket portion, the spy or the player who has won has gotten at least 3 spy wins. And the question I ask is, Nebula can definitely win this game. Can they get 3 spy wins? Can they continue that pattern? And I think the answer is yes. I think you could reasonably say that Nebula is about as capable as anybody of getting 3 spy wins against Rav. I don't think it is responsible for me to say that is actually the more likely option, though. I'll go with Rav 9-7.
All right, well, we have a unified casting team here, I think for only the second time in SMC. So Nebula with a hill to climb. Now, before we turn it over to the games, we of course are going to look at what the community predicted. Now, the community predictions here, unlike in Challengers, are not directly predicting an outcome of this match, but we do have the predictions for who was above whom in the groups. So just taking a look at those predictions, we have 80% of predictions having Rav over Nebula in groups, 20% having Nebula over Rav. So I think the community definitely feeling the Rav fever here, but you know, some people willing to contend that Nebula is capable of pulling something like this off. So lots to play for, and these players have already got their match started for us, so we are going to turn our attention over to that. Pwn, thank you so much for the analysis, and we will catch you back here at halftime.
Yeah, sounds good. Perfect.
All right, well, getting into this first game, we have Nebula opening things up on the spy side of Veranda as Small Man. Sped Monkey, you ready to go?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into our first game of this SMC Champions match in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So Nebula starting off as Small Man. I'm not sure what Nebula's character or cast selection looks like, but we have Small Man Spy, we have Cowboy as the seduction target, which is already off to an interesting start. I mean, it seems strange maybe to pick Small Man off the bat here, but it could also just be random. We all have a green seduction test to start things off with. It's a strong flirt.
Yeah, it's a nice flirt to pick up at the beginning. You know, Nebula, I think at this point is going to be looking for opportunities to try to set the pace of this game. It's a long set. It's probably not really a long set for Nebula. And look at this. We've taken this book out here, and we check our watch. We don't go for any kind of read. Now comes the read. Now comes the transfer. And it's not really super easy to see from the sniper cam. It's a green test, and that's microfilm in pocket for Nebula.
Yeah, we had really nice cover there from Sick, also at the window, and thanks to Rov's rotating the camera at just the right time, I think the microfilm was pretty much blocked. Like, maybe there were some pixels available, but for the most part, I think that was clean. So that's one microfilm action test in hand, but this is, of course, Veranda, so 5 missions to be done, and there's still plenty more to go here that you're going to have to get past Rov.
Yeah, I mean, the timing on this microfilm is going to be a little rough. We're down to under 3 minutes on the clock. We've only done one of the animations. So, as you mentioned, with 5 missions to do, still lots to get. Let's see if Nebula's able to pull off this 2-flirt. No, our seduction target leaves! We will not be pulling off any kind of 2-flirt, not right now anyways.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I mean, as you mentioned, the pacing is already a little bit behind. Not that I'm sure Nebula is worried. I'm sure Nebula has a lot of tricks up his sleeve to potentially finish in a flurry if he has to. But you still hate to see it just because it messes up your rhythm as the spy when that happens, and can just be a little bit tilting. And Nebula seems to agree. We're going to the window pad here once again, and it looks like we're going to get some time ads.
Yeah, we get a green time ad. That's nice to see. I think we were in desperate need of it. And no immediate reaction from Rov. Now, of course, Rov's laser is not super expressive, I think it's fair to say, so exactly what's known and what's not, we're going to have to wait and see. But speaking of waiting, Nebula has decided that he's done enough of it. Going to go into back statues on the left side, pick up at least a pair of inspects.
Yeah, I find it interesting the meta regarding statues, especially when it comes to Veranda versus Library, as we pick up a highlight here for going to them. Like, Library, people tend to avoid statues a lot, but Veranda, it's so hard to complete without doing statues, where it feels like Library has more options. So there we go. And Bastion in a slightly buggable position, but the camera is staring it down like a hawk, and we're not going to take that option.
No, there's a hard rotation over here to the left from Rob. Not going to let that through. And I think you're just kind of trying to take some bug when there's not a lot of distraction. Like, that's not the way you win a spy game against Rob, I think it's fair to say.
No, I think that's a very fair point. We are going to pick up that second flirt, 83%, so we're 1 flirt away regardless pretty much. With that green time ad, we're down to 150 currently. No missions completed yet.
Yeah, we're not going to hit that 2-flirt. Nebula's green rate for players at SMC is not spectacular. It's kind of in the middle or like lower middle of the pack, right around 50%. Rob's much higher, up around 61%, and here we see it again, failing a difficult print from Nebula, and this is running a lot of time off the clock. That flirt, this fingerprint attempt, now we have to go for this microfilm, but we're a highlight, and getting away with this animation as a highlight is going to be a lot tougher than getting away with it as a neutral light, and look how much the camera's staying over here.
Yeah. Yeah, the camera swings over. The ambassador's over here as well, but it definitely feels like the view is more on us. Oh, we do get a walking bug, though! The ambassador walks by with perfect cover. We do get the reverse drive-by, and that's a bug in hand. It might have been free.
Yeah, seeing that is so hard, even as a highlight, even with the rotation. There's just so much cover in that conversation. I don't think it's going to have been seen, and that at least is some progress as we're over here at Bookcase, trying to get this microphone back in, but the camera staring us down, not letting it happen.
Yeah, we've now gone to all 3 bookshelves. So Rob might just be crediting microfilm being done anyway. But that bug in hand is huge, but we're down to 40 seconds left with only the bug in hand. We have so much partial progress, but we're going to need another time ad just to finish, I think.
I don't think we can take a timeout at this point. I mean, we're down to 30 seconds. The beeps are starting. Nebula needs a different plan. But finishing here, I mean, the seduction target's in conversation. We have some chances, but...
There's a print and an inspect. There's 2 missions, but we still need one more after this, and it's only going to be 15 seconds. And it doesn't even matter! The shot will come off as the green swap is pending. 3 missions done, and Rob finds the correct shot anyway.
Yeah, I think, unfortunate for Nebula that he wasn't able to get any joy there in terms of the transfer animations. Just no opportunities, I think, to take them. The first one was brilliant. That was fantastic. But the next 2 just never had a chance, had to take that book away somewhere, just didn't have time. And that's Rob locking down the first sniper game to open up this set.
Yeah, that's what you would hope to see on Veranda, of course. Especially as your own pick, you'd hope to get that first sniper win under your belt and sort of get into the groove of the game. And Rov does so admirably.
All right, well, coming into our second game on Veranda, it will be Rav playing as Orange Sari in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep. Notably, of course, the second slowest character, in the game. We start things off with the cheese threat, though, and that will help the speed issue.
Yeah, you love to see that. I mean, you'll take a white there because it's basically free. we try.
We bounce around to try and chase the selection target, but I don't think we can squeeze in there. And Rob agrees, going to just go take the empty conversation circle of shame here with the drink.
Yeah, I mean, what other choice do we have? This front conversations in Veranda, not always very friendly to the spy. Place has opened up, and we're deciding that it's good enough to join. We'll walk over here. We'll probably take this flirt pretty quickly. And, hey, that'll be a pretty nice flirt percent no matter what we get.
Yeah, I mean, 78% after that green test. We'll take that every time. Toby's an offer. We're just going to take the innocent drink. Still early here. This is pretty decent progress so far. That early cheese flirt really paying dividends already.
3 minutes 18 on the clock. We have 2 flirts done. No other progress yet, but I think probably still a better place than we saw in the last game in terms of pacing. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if we think a timeout at some point in this game makes sense as well as the clock continues to wind. Coming down to 3 minutes, but Rob is going to timer flirt this.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You've already invested a lot of time in this conversation circle, and the flirtation cooldown is about to expire anyway. So, assuming we don't get bail on this time around, we will take that flirt. Yep, there it is, 100%. So that's 1 mission complete. Double Agent did join us there, but we decided not to elect to take that banana bread, and instead give the bail and go over towards books instead.
Yeah, our seduction target is close by, but we don't really care at this point. I think Rav trying to set up here for something at books. Unfortunately, the ambassador comes over here, so we will get the print, but I think trying to get any kind of animation is going to be too tough. We just take this book away very quickly.
Yeah, we just rip it out, and we're going to the bookshelf here. Where kind of animation at the window, the hand movement very visible. No laser reaction though, at least no shot coming off. Alright, well that's 1 microfilm animation done. Rov going to have to return this book soon, of course, but we're just going to window the window. We're wasting a lot of time, and I think you're right. I think a time ad might be necessary here at this point.
It's a reasonable time for it. Unfortunately, we're very close to the ambassador. And it looks like Rob's going to return this book first. There's also a briefcase on the ground. It's not going to have a fresh print. And the ambassador's probably too close to take it as well. So we're going to burn a lot of time putting this book back. And we're going to be down to 1.5 minutes with only 1 mission done.
Yeah, under 100 seconds to go on Veranda with 1 mission done is tough. We'll pick up this banana bread here, it looks like. And I think we might have to force a bug coming out of this with the ambassador so close. Although the ambassador's going to bail on us. So that option is going to be off the table as well. And Rov steadily running out of options as the time ticks down.
And the end of red.
There is the contact. It will let off quite a few lowlights available, and unfortunately, we're not able to split out of the contact into anything particularly useful. So for now, it looks like Rav, with under a minute to go, still has a microfilm in pocket, still needs to find one print, and has no inspects. Now there's lots of options. We could go for some kind of purloin. Unfortunately, the chain was just reset. There is a print on this left statue, but I don't think Rav could know that. It was off screen when it was left, so it looks like we're going for the animation at this point instead.
It feels like Nebula has a really good lock on this party. It does not feel like Nebula... Oh, the animation is visible. But with 25 seconds left, even if Nebula does not shoot here, it doesn't matter. Rav still has a lot of work to do. Although, if we do have this print, we could print swap finish, assuming we can hit this...
There's the
no,
swap.
We try to cheese it. We cheese it. We're walking away.
Pilot. It's seen.
But it was seen, and the shot will come off. Nebula will see the cheeky spy play.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't even take the print on that statue. It was difficult, but that is going to be the snipers trading wins in the opening veranda pair. And to be fair, that's probably what you would expect here from players of this caliber. But it does mean that Rav's running out of time to go up on his double.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I think Rav just trying to sort of cheese that, trusting that if the sniper missed the microfilm, the sniper would also miss the swap and wouldn't check it. But nonetheless, 1-1.
1-1, and that means that Nebula coming back, going to be playing as Pearls, answering the second slowest character on Veranda with the slowest character on Veranda. And, well, let's see if Nebula's able to squeeze something by in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep. It's interesting seeing these players kind of break the meta by going to these slow characters, but we're going to address that with a cheese time ad right off the bat here. I like this play a lot.
Yep, it's a white time ad.
We're going fast. That's a green purloin as well. Nebula trying to go fast here to make up for the slowness of this character, trying to get a lot done right away here. But there's not going to be a chain. The double agent refuses. It's going to go to Mom here, to Teal, excuse me, as some characters bounce around, but she is going to take the list. And the fade is visible.
It's visible, but it's not seen. I think Rob is still looking for it. Now it's seen, and look at this!
Yeah, Rob all over it.
Not gonna let that one through. I like the idea. I think Rob had a little bit of difficulty confirming that the list was actually gone. Veranda, of course, the viewing angle makes that tough, but there's the zoom in, now confirmed missing, and Rob has no doubt about exactly who needs to take the bullet. That is Rob holding things down on the sniper side, 2-1.
Yeah, I really like the aggression out of Nebula there. I mean, as we kind of discussed at the beginning, if you're going to win this set, you have to make things happen on Spy side, and that's going to involve taking some risks, of course. So, I like the idea. Didn't pay off this time, but I hope we see more of that.
All right, well, our final game of Veranda is coming up, and this is going to be Rob's last chance to go up on his double, playing as Boots in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Looks like we're going to be chasing down the seduction target here, who is, of course, walking ahead of us and bouncing around a bit. We are going to join in with the bouncing a bit more. And finally, we get blocked out of the conversation circle, however, so just as we saw before, we're going to go to the window path of shame instead.
Yeah, that happens, and look, Veranda, you do have some time to play with, but we've seen both of these players in their first game kind of run into some time issues, need some time ads. We'll go for this briefcase, we'll pick up a print. That's a reasonable way to start off a Veranda game, I think.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. We'll return the briefcase right here. That's not bad. Of course, a sniper of Nebula's caliber is not going to miss that briefcase, but that's alright. Rav, though, going soft tail to soft tail, going to the statues as well and picking up a highlight for his troubles.
Yeah, that highlight I think is not great. I mean, in the Nebula game that we saw yesterday, these highlights that Nebula was letting off were usually indication that you were going to have a hard time completing as Spy. It was not just you went to statues. It was something a bit more than that. Now, we are next to our seduction target. We will pick up a first flirt, 51% on the green test. Rob, of course, doing very well with action test rates, one of the highest in SMC. But just an innocent drink. So, one fingerprint, one set of inspects, one flirt, 3 minutes to play.
This is still a pretty good pace, though. This is a much better pace than we've seen out of either of these players so far. Of course, discounting the fact that we saw sort of the green purloin walk away from Nebula, so we have no idea what that would have looked like in a longer game.
Banana bread.
But that's pretty good. There's a fake PB. It's also pretty good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think Nebula's going to take maybe one low light off of that, if I see correctly. That's, of course, not mission progress for Rob. And I think it's going to be tough to really induce some kind of panic civ shot from Nebula. Nebula's not the kind of player that that's going to happen with, but I mean, if the fake contact is pretty free, you may as well take it. And here's a flirt. It's green, but it's further away, so it's only 95%. This is going to be a 3 flirt game.
Yeah, but our selection came to us instead of us going to them. So, as far as suspicion goes, that's not bad at all. Time is ticking down, though, as we have been in this conversation circle for quite some time, and our selection herd is going to leave us again with the briefcase, and presumably might take a bit. So, Rob has to be thinking about his next move here pretty hard. We still have a fingerprint to find, we still have statues to finish, but even if we finish all the soft tails, we still do have to get that one crucial hardtail done.
Yeah, coming up on a minute 35. We've seen these players in this position a lot so far in this set. So they're starting coming back, but this time not going to join our conversation. Rob still has partial progress on 3 missions, but you need 5 to win this game. We're going to go finish flirt and pick up a book at the same time.
Yeah, there's the flirt done, and you like to see that. I think it's too late, though, to start microfilm, unless we're just going to slam this book in the wrong shelf. We definitely don't have time to do animation. The laser is sort of hovering at that neutral spot that a lot of snipers use with the ambassador right there. But us with that glowing highlight, you have to feel like we might have been noticed at this bookshelf, and we're just holding it. There we go, finally walk away. The book going back correctly.
We saw a little nod there on Rob's camera as the laser flicked over to our seduction targeted statues. It's not granting a highlight necessarily, but I wonder what Rob makes of that. In any case, I'm not sure it's going to bail us out. Civ shot, not easy to do here without showing a hardtail, but we just go for a swap! A white swap!
A white swap at the front! Oh, yeah, no, Nebula, none of that.
Yeah, I mean, the fade is visible on screen. We're a highlight at statues in the last 30 seconds. Nebula's going to be watching that, and that means that Nebula is going to lock down this first batch of games, Veranda going 2-2 on Rob's double.
Yeah, I think that's a really good result for Nebula. Like, that's... You couldn't hope for anything more than that, than a sniper party on Veranda, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't think Nebula's coming out of Veranda trying to be up 3-1. I mean, you'd certainly take it. But I think a 2-2 result there as we head into Nebula's pick of Aquarium. Nebula's going to be perfectly happy with that.
Alright, quick. Over under, how much shark cheese do we see during these 4 games?
I think we're going to see at least 1 from Nebula. I think we're also going to see an attempt from Rav.
Alright, good to know. Let's see if it happens.
Alright, well, getting into this first game of Aquarium, Nebula will be on the spy side playing as Salmon. How appropriate. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, looks like we're going to start things off at bar, or at least try to, although we're getting bounced around a lot, as we've seen a bunch of. Both these players are willing to take the bounces and go where we're directed, and Nebula will say, alright, I'll go with a flirt first instead.
Yeah, we take that flirt, 51%. Nebula has been turning up those green flirts in this set, but not really the 2 flirts. We've been hitting like 1 green, but then not able to hit the other one. So not helping us all that much. We will make a lot of progress here quickly. We go from that flirt immediately into an inspect.
Yeah, a lot of statue visitors earlier in this game for Rod to keep track of. I don't know if Nebula is just kind of counting on that to sort of blend in a little bit more than usual with all the highlights. But either way, not hesitating on getting that early highlight in exchange for the 2 statues.
We might walk right back here and try to pick up another flirt.
Yeah, it looks like it. Really no hesitation either. And as you called it, that's going to be 85%. Green and a white.
Double Agent comes to us, as does the Ambassador, and we're behind Shark. This bug is free.
Yeah, we took it. I think the lean might have been slightly visible from the sniper's point of view, but for most snipers, that's just going to have to be a credit. There's nothing else you can do about that.
That's so gross. I mean, Rob has to be looking at that, certainly aware that that's a possibility, but wow, is that hard to see.
Yeah, alright. So Nebula, with the opportunistic bug here, with one more flirt to go, one more statue, we could have a very early shark setup right now. With 2 minutes left, there's still a lot of opportunities here. If we can finish flirt, we can get a banana bread off, and then go set up something with statues or books or anything we want, really.
Yeah, we're just going to take this flirt very disrespectfully at the moment the cooldown happens, but we are not going to take this contact. And Nebula could be setting up exactly as you said for some kind of inspect swap shark finish. But
Yeah,
this
and with
isn't
the shark
timing.
crossing in front of it. Yep, absolutely. Here's the inspect. Will we see the swap as well? Yep, there it is. It's a white swap behind the shark. We're not going to cheese it, though. We're just relying on the
We're just
shark to
blocking.
block the fade. Yeah. And time will tick down. Nebula will get away with the inspect swap finish.
What a move.
Yeah, you love to see the pace of that. Such change from the sort of slower veranda pace. Nebula just kind of blatantly going for the very aggressive play there at the end.
But you know what I think makes this so interesting is that, like, okay, you're used to people going to this back statue to, like, inspect swap and run with the shark, right? To shark walk across the venue. And Nebula's timing makes it very clear that that's not what he's doing. But he doesn't need to. He could just inspect swap and then just stand there and win.
Yeah, Nebula just using the shark to kind of block the possible lean, assuming that he had Simba'd the statue there. The shark was blocking for all but 3 seconds, so by the time he was about to put the statue back down, there's basically no avenue for Rob to see it, so that would have had to have been just an intuition shot.
All right, well, that means Nebula has broken serve for the first time in this set with a spy win on Aquarium. Now it's Rob's turn to see if he can match it playing as Kane. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, well, we've gotten this off with a bang here. Whoa, no, that's not what we wanted to do. We pick up a low light and immediately got brought back. It's fine, we're fine. We will flirt here at the statues as we sip our drink instead.
Yeah, this is nice to see. I mean, we pick up that early green flirt. We pick up one inspect. We're going to go for another. And we'll have no trouble landing it. Only 2. And so a very fast start from Rav and no highlight yet from Nebula.
Yeah, unlike last game where we saw Nebula highlight for going to statues immediately after that first briefcase, here just going to statues early on, not ringing the same alarm bells, and it looks like we're actually doing bar highlights just to sort of track those visitors.
Yeah, I don't mind it on Aquarium. I mean, if there's a lot of people going to bar, of course, it adds the mental load of having to remember to take the highlights down later on so you don't just waste the glowing figures. And hey, look, Toby's picked up a highlight as well.
Well, that's fun. It's good. It helps to make him feel like part of the group, part of the gang. We are just going to pick up the delegate, though. No cheese happening here, as we'll walk away with a drink in hand. Looks like we're going to go try and finish up that flirt.
Yeah, I mean, may as well here at this point. If you can 2 flirt on Aquarium, that's really nice to see because the timer's not that forgiving, and it will happen. Rav with the 2 greens, that flirt is done, and here comes a real contact as well.
Yeah, it's not bad. There's a few people out, but General already a low light, so that's one that's already sort of done. A couple more are going to come out, but all things considered, we take those for sure.
2 minutes 15 on the clock. Rob just checking the shark coming across.
Yeah, we're going to delegate. I don't know if this is going to take, though.
Who did we?
Okay, well that got weird.
Who did we delegate to? To Rocker. And,
Oh, who has a book?
Yeah. Okay.
So she's gonna try and slam it, and then go to the bar. All right. Well, if Nebula's paying attention to this, then this should be setting alarm bells ringing in his head.
Yeah.
But we are brought back down to a neutral light as the bar timer fades.
I'm not sure that that's the kind of thing you're going to be paying so much attention to, and like a yellow triangle slamming a book. It's just not the kind of things I think most people are going to devote a lot of attention and focus to. Of course, if you see that, you know that's not supposed to happen.
Right, of course. But as you say, the SDA already low lit, as Banana Bread has already come off, so the odds of that being like a major point of focus, pretty low. The ambassador will leave as we stand in the center conversation circle here. Down to almost a minute left. We still need 2 more missions. We have 2 inspects, so a shark finish could be in the waters here. And the ambassador's leaving a print at the back, but it's a little too late to start prints as well.
No, I mean, this looks like such a classic inspect swap shark walk setup. Rav continuing to check the shark, make sure that the timing is right. We're gonna go for this bug. No! No!
Oh, we go for the bug. It was very well disguised. The positioning was very good, but Nebula not letting anything get by him there, and is going to find the shot.
I wonder if Rav thought he had shark cover that he didn't have. Yeah, the zoom in there and the quick talk afterwards to try to get the animation. It's not enough. Nebula's going to see that every time. And now Nebula has broken serve and is ahead in this match on his double, 4-2.
Yep, absolutely. And this is what we were talking about. Rav now suddenly with a hill to climb here, and Nebula has to push this advantage as far as he can.
And I think this speaks to what Pwned on the analyst desk was saying earlier about the veranda double, where so many players have had to have that 3-1 win on their double. Nebula obviously well on his way to getting it, but now Rav, after being very comfortable, I think on the sniper side of veranda, is going to potentially have a hill to climb in the singles. Now we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still have 2 more games to play on Aquarium, and it will be starting off with Nebula playing as General in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, so Nebula going to maybe start here at bar again, and yes, our selection target is going to be there as well, so that's a 2-for-1 bonus for Nebula right off the bat. We have a pretty decent set of bar visitors here to start things off as well. So as a spy, you love to see it, especially as we get that green test flirt to start things off, 39%.
Yeah, that's pretty nice to see. I think the question here for Nebula is if we invest all this time at bar, are we going to use it? Are we actually going to be willing to fire a
Ooh, we demand behind the shark.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Just save some time. It's not the kind of thing that a sniper's going to be investing so much focus on, knowing like what was the correct order for people to be served. I want to see a lot more demands, if I'm honest, and I'm glad we got to see one here.
Yeah, I just like using the shark cover to disguise the second ask. That's a really nice sort of attention to detail there from Nebula.
It's the little things when you are playing Spy Party at these margins that are required. A low light onto Rocker from Rav. Very cool to see after that briefcase return and then path into that conversation. But okay, we have a 60% flirt. We have a delegate in hand, and now we're going to head back to bar.
I think we're faking a delegate. We are absolutely going to fake a delegate here. Like we left mid-animation as Salmon talked. I think we are trying to frame Salmon right now.
All right, well, it's going to be a little bit of a wait as there's still a big pile up here. 6 people at bar. We do finish flirt while we're here. Our timer has expired, and I don't think that Salmon could reasonably have a timer that's going to be long enough for this.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Here it comes, though. Here's the offer, and now's the moment of truth. Yep, there's this direct take. We are going to just direct take that. A little camera shake here coming out from Rav. Now he has to diagnose exactly what just took place.
Yeah, here comes some lowlights. It looks like Rav doesn't really have an idea of who it is that's supposed to have sent us. Not a strong idea, doesn't really know where we came from, maybe. And this is, I think, is probably fair to say, a little uncharacteristic for Rav to be this far behind a Purloin.
Yeah, I mean, that bar has been incredibly busy, really this entire game, so there are a lot of potential suspects. But yeah, it is a little bit unlike Rav to be this seemingly befuddled. There's a banana bread, though. It's a good one, but there is going to let a lot of people out of conversation out.
It's only real for us and Twin.
Note that we did it as Salmon was talking as well, trying to cast more suspicion onto Salmon. Like, the narrative that Nebula is weaving right now is that Salmon is trying to frame us.
But the problem with that narrative is that that's not a reason to actually shoot someone. Like, you don't have to shoot Salmon for framing.
No, you have to hope that Salmon does something else to finish here.
Coming down on 50 seconds, and we're just standing in this conversation with, by the way, 3 missions done. So there are lots of ways for us to finish this game.
Yeah, of course, this is Aquarium, so all sorts of shenanigans on the table here. We're just going to walk away. We're going to take a bug path.
There's the bug.
There's a bug behind the shark. Can Rob find the shot?
Oh,
the
he
hammer
doesn't want to
shakes.
shoot.
I don't think he likes it, but he does. Rob finds the correct shot, despite not seeing the bug, and is going to even things up here by finally taking a sniper win.
I know I said earlier that Rob does not have a very expressive sniper laser. I'm going to have to take that back after what we saw at the end of that game. I don't think Rob wanted to take that shot. I don't think Rob liked that shot. But Rob finds the shot. That's what matters. And Rob keeps this set alive, managing to hold on sniper side of Aquarium and avoid going down 2-5.
Yeah, that's a big win for sure. But now Rob, of course, needs to find a win on Spy side here to even things back up, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, well, Rob will be playing as Taft. We have the Cowboy Ambassador coming out in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, well, Taft, of course, very fast, has those blocking abilities, so could be worse. We're going to start things off with the small man flirt. 50%. You'd love to see it.
You love to see that. We're also here near the Ambassador, but I don't think Rob is... Well, maybe. Are you really going to do this?
Oh, we're doing it. Rob with the very cheeky bug behind the shark, going right back to the starting point, completely invisible. I think that's basically free. I mean, we could have had it credited, but that's the best you're going to get. That is a bug in pocket with nothing more than suspicion.
That looked very good on both Spy and Sniper Cam. Big fan of that bug. Of course, you could just take the path away, but that's the kind of path that got Nebula shot in the last game. Just trying to go back to the same place in conversation. You love to see it.
I guess if you count the first Nebula game, then we have seen shark shenanigans for both players, kind of.
Yeah, not really a shark walk. Not one of those kind of like you line something up and you're good enough at walking behind shark that you're almost unshootable. But taking advantage of the shark in other ways, which I'm really glad to see in this, avoiding those really, I don't want to say telegraphed, but kind of like standard meta things.
The premeditated ones.
Exactly, the set pieces.
Right, exactly. We are going to go pick up a drink as well, and Nebula sticking to the bar highlight so far. So we have the drink in hand, we need one more flirt, we still have a lot of time. That bug really put us into a really good position here, mission-wise.
Yeah, now here's a question, like, if you're Nebula, I mean, you've played, I don't know how many games with SpyParty, but it's a lot. You know, you are aware that that kind of bug behind center shark in conversation is possible. Now the question is, how much credit are you giving Taft for that at this point? Because if it's not enough, then Rob can just walk away with this game and even out the set coming into halftime.
Yep, certainly true. We delegate as well, by the way. The bar is not all that big. We're going to go to the bar as well.
Yeah, I love doing this the whole... Oh, and we're not going to bar, we're actually going to statue. Okay.
This is going to be a finish. The purloin is going to come off. We're going to
There it
swap
is.
as the purloin comes off. We're going to block the statue here behind Shark. Countdown is on. Nebula needs to figure this out right now. It's 5 seconds left. Is not looking to shoot. And I think Rob's going to tie this up.
Rob, I mean, don't call it a comeback, but if I'm honest with you, that is not something I think is going to be easy for a lot of players at this level to do. Nebula had won 3 in a row and had woken up on Aquarium. Rob had to lock down the last 2 while behind on Nebula's double, is able to do it, take the last 2 games, and bring this to a 4-4, and we've seen now these swaps at the back statues on Aquarium more than once.
Yeah, both the players dipping into that same well and succeeding as well.
All right, well, that is the first half of the set. Now, as a reminder, we will play all 16 games, and there is no overtime, as this is still in groups. But Spedman, I think you and I are going to take a little bit of a break. So, Pwned, why don't you come back here, walk us through what we saw in the first half of the set, some of the observations you've been making, and then we'll take a look at one of the highlight moments of the set.
Yeah, one thing I want to note before we get into the actual gameplay is just the nature of this group. With 3 absolute killers in Rav, Nebula, and Lagorv Janine, there's a lot of possibility that every game matters. It's easy enough to imagine that Levty could potentially lose every game, and everybody else splits like a rock, paper, scissors and goes 2-1, and the games matter. It's also easy to imagine that Rav dominates, and then everybody else goes 1-2, and then the race for second matters. So that Nebula is able to keep pace here against Rav, gives them both the chance to beat Rav, which is always an impressive feat. It's only been done once in 2022, but it also gives them an opportunity to be the best loser against Rav if that ends up mattering. Looking at the gameplay there, up until these Aquarian games, the Veranda was quite tame, but I'm happy to see some exciting gameplay with Aquarium, and this is kind of what we alluded to with the picks and bans. Veranda was sniper biased, and the snipers were very confident. There didn't seem to be any opportunity for a civilian shot. On Aquarium, there didn't seem to be any opportunity for a civilian shot because the spies were getting into mission win countdown on 3 of the 4 games. The highlight that I provided is actually from game 8, and it's going to be Rava's spy. I just want to note the timing here of the 3 things that are going on. The shark, the purloin, and the swap. Let's get it started. So 2 minutes here, and Twin, who was previously a highlight, comes into conversation. So that purloin is going to be Twin. Unfortunately, they are low lit at this exact moment because our sniper is also doing things, but they're going to be sent off. We're going to head off to this back statue. We have the option between the left and the right statue, but Rav correctly chooses the left statue, which is going to be shark blocked. If you look at the bottom there, you can see the purloin's just come off, and it's blocked by the shark. Now the swap happens, it's blocked by the shark, and the statue is being blocked by Taft. You can see that Nebula is going left and right with the tilt and trying to see past Taft, but kind of just gives up because it is impossible. Rav has a game plan here. They were able to execute it perfectly with 3 different things all happening at the same time, and it was almost premeditated because they had to pick Taft to be able to pull this off. It's disgusting, and it's kept them in the game because now we're going into the second half of this 4-4, and with the single picks, we're going to see 4 different venues. A lot of stuff could happen.
All right, so Pwned, in terms of what we've seen so far, what is like one adjustment that one of these players needs to make in these singles?
Yeah, so if you're looking at the next venues, all of them are going to be 4 of X. And 4 of X is often going to come down to these moments. We've seen Rav be able to clutch out the moment in that 7th game, the sniper where he was able to shoot behind the shark. We saw that Nebula has been able to clutch out a few moments here. It's going to come down to those sort of quick just punches that they've been throwing, and frankly, they've already been doing them. We've seen a lot of really well-timed bugs. We've seen Nebula camping out bug, and I think that might be the real answer is who can pull one big punch to get another spy win, or if nobody's able to do that, who's able to camp out bug better.
All right, well, thank you, Pwn, so much for breaking it down. We'll see you back here at the end of the set, but for now, it's time to get back into the action. We have the singles coming up, and we will see 8 more games, and it's going to start off with Nebula on the spy side of Ballroom 4 of 8, playing as Pearls again. Spedmonkey, you ready to get back into the action?
Absolutely. Ready when you are.
All right, let's get this set started in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I would like to note as well that our last 3 venues of this set are all going to be occlusion. We have Tan, Gallery, and Redwoods, and as Pwn says, finding those cheeky bugs with the occlusion and being able to take those shots that maybe you aren't see, but you just have to shoot kind of based on intuition, is going to be such a huge factor going into the end of this set.
Yeah, occlusion is a big theme, I think, in the set. Even Ballroom, even Aquarium, maybe everywhere but Veranda, which is a different kind. And look, we have a Green Purloin pending! Green Purloin pending already in the set. We saw this from Nebula once before. Now they're going to give it another try.
With Pearl last time as well, this is clearly a set plan. We have a little bit of a chain going here. Very interesting to watch here. There's the Purloin, though. The list fade is visible. Rob immediately zooms in to confirm, and now has to narrow down this chain.
Yeah, it looks like Alice has earned a highlight. We've earned a highlight. maybe General and Kane, so narrowing down the suspect pool very severely, but that is 2 missions done for Nebula, who, by the way, got a bug after that. Now there's the contact. 3 missions are done for Nebula. I didn't even see this bug. We're going to have to take a look at it after the game is over, but now all we need to do is 1 more mission. We have 2 minutes, and we could just flirt this out.
We could, or we just go center statues and dare a shot to come out. Like, how do you shoot here if someone goes center statues with 2 minutes left?
I don't know. Yeah, and our seduction target over at books, I think let's see where she goes. So she goes into conversation. Now Nebula needs to make a choice. Nebula has not been hitting the 2 flirts, so if he intends to finish this game with flirt, he needs to start now. And it looks like that is the plan, at least to give it a try.
Yeah, and I think the ideal situation here is that we just timer flirt this out, right? So we aren't seen chasing, we just sit here, we get 2 green tests, and that's the end. There's the first one. This plan is coming together for Nebula.
Yeah, we still have time, even if we don't hit the 2 flirt, but if we do, this is going to be so strong and so hard to shoot. And by the way, our seduction target, also a highlight in this game.
Yeah, I just don't see how a shot is going to come off for another flirt here. Like, there are so many suspects for that purloin, it was not sufficiently narrowed down, only 3 lowlights coming out. We've seen a lot of uncertainty from Rov that I think is maybe uncharacteristic so far this set.
I think it comes down to if you are at all able to credit this bug, the bug which, I'll be transparent, I had no idea happened. And if you have no idea that bug happened, there's no way you shoot for this flirt. If you have even an inkling, and you see pearls, especially talk close to that 45-second mark, then, which I think Nebula has to do because there's the risk of not 2 flirting. There's our second reject, or third reject actually, and it's a white test.
Yep. Well, we still could timer flirt this out in theory, but that's going to leave us with overtime. So Nebula going to go reset that timer a little bit quicker. Is there going to be room though to kind of come back to this conversation circle across from the seduction target? And will the seduction target stay for us?
And can you chase that blatantly against Rov? I don't think Rov wants to have to win this game with a flirt pair, but I think he's willing to, knowing that he's behind on the purloin.
Nebula with some cheeky bouncing around, but does land where he wants to. The floor has to come off sooner rather than later. There it is. It's the white test. We're in countdown. Rov has to find this shot for the flirt.
No shot. How do you... Oh, that's so rough. And Nebula takes a spy win on Ballroom.
That was just such a well-played game. The change of pace from the beginning with that huge rush into the very slow finish. Amazing. Can we see that bug again, though? Because I also missed it.
I had no idea this bug happened until I looked at the upper left. Let's take a look. So it's right here. The purloin has pretty much just come off a few seconds ago. You see the laser moving around. There's the highlight onto us. We clearly feel it. And look at this double walking bug.
Oh, that's so gross. That is disgusting. Especially with the sleight of hand of Rov trying to figure out what happened with that purloin. That is just nasty.
Yeah, I mean, that's really well done from Nebula. Just stack things up, cause the confusion, and Rov isn't able to find it. And without that bug, without any suspicion for it, I understand how there's no way you can shoot at the end of that game.
Wow, we've seen 2 really nice spy wins from Nebula so far.
Yeah, I think...
Pun said you had to win 3 spy games to win this set, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said, and that's kind of where we're ending up now. Rov has taken 1, Nebula now has taken 2, and we are back onto the last game of Ballroom. Rov now on the spy side, playing as Duke. Nebula looking to sweep Rov's pick of Ballroom in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, Rov starting things off as Duke. This pressure situation, by the way, must just be so high for both of those players. The fact that they're still executing these plays in this situation is such a testament to their experience and just how good they are in these pressure situations.
Yeah, this is an extremely consequential match. Now, both of these players, of course, have a chance of getting out of groups regardless of the result of this match, but boy, coming away with a win from this would make it a heck of a lot easier and probably give you an easier pairing in the semifinals. So, very important match and keeping it very, very close. SMC matches, I think we've seen 1-9-3. Everything else has been 9-5 or closer.
Yeah, I mean, the caliber of play so far in SMC has just been incredible. All these players really giving their best, really showing off sort of the best of SpyParty play, as you would hope to see in a tournament like this.
We are at 50% flirt. We're standing next to our seduction target. A second green from Rav will finish the 2 flirt, and there it is. So that's one mission done. And
Yeah,
now
the green rate from Rob really standing out here.
huge difference versus Nebula, who has consistently struggled to 2 flirt. Now Nebula's been making it work regardless, but you know you're kind of playing down a tempo when that happens. So Rob has unlocked a little bit more possibilities with that 2 flirt. Now, with that being said, we've stuck around this conversation for quite some time. We're coming across the ambassador. We couldn't possibly try for this bug, and we do not. We're not quite. I don't think this is standing bug range. It's certainly not anymore.
Now, putting a lot of trust there into Nebula Sniper to know that we didn't bug. You like to see it. I would point out as well that regarding green tests, while Nebula hasn't necessarily been hitting the flirts, he has been hitting the clutch greens pretty well. Especially with those purloins. We've seen some clutch green purloins coming off. So that has been a big feather in Nebula's cap. Has been a direct contributor to his wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last game we saw it, right? That green purloin on ballroom, I think made all the difference.
Yeah, well, there's a white test. It's going to be a white banana bread. Not the worst
Banana
place to
bread.
pull out a white and sort of even out your white rate. But we do get the bug as we banana bread and come out of that conversation circle. And Nebula not
sees
fooled.
it.
Yeah, Nebula all over that one.
Oh, try to pull off a similar thing to what Nebula pulled off in the previous game, and honestly, I think this bug is pretty good.
Banana bread.
It is for sure. But the lean definitely visible on camera. And Nebula having none of it. The camera shakes as well. Yeah.
All right, so Nebula sweeps Rov's pick of ballroom and opens up the set again. Now it's 6-4.
All right, well, Rob has been in this position before. Rob needing a spy win at some point in the next 3 venues.
All right, well, let's get into the next venue, which will be Taeyen. And it looks like it's going to be Nebula playing as Pearls again. I think this is Nebula's 3rd time as Pearls in, what would that be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spy games?
Yep, 50% pick rate.
All right, well, she's a good character. Let's see what he does with her this time. In 3, 2, 1, playing.
Yep. This is sort of a different sort of venue. This is sort of the long occlusion, which we haven't seen yet. It's going to be this and gallery are going to be sort of the big tests, but definitely a different sort of style. A lot less premeditation available here versus, of course, aquarium. So seeing what these players do with sort of the chaos of Taeyen is going to be real interesting for sure.
Yeah, very different venue and a much higher mission density than we've seen really, I think, on any other venue so far. I mean, aquarium certainly doesn't count, veranda certainly doesn't count, even ballroom, you kind of have to move all over the place in some cases. So Taeyen, we've seen these players run things down to the wire in some venues. Taeyen is a place where that will play very differently. We started off with a green flirt, 51%, Nebula getting one more chance to try to find a 2 flirt.
Yeah, I would point out as well that Nebula has been really sort of, especially in the games he's won, has been really mixing up the pace really, really well. Especially with those sort of early bursts of
Banana
activity.
bread.
Here's going to be a fake BB
Perfect.
because, yep, perfect except for the SDA.
Which is kind of, I mean, in some ways also good because it means that we did not get real credit, but we probably plan to get real credit later, so you may as well take it now, just give everybody else credit. Hey, here comes Smallman.
Oh, what do you know?
Smallman has been highlit. I think Rav thinks that's the real double agent, which is a little strange since the contact was when he was out. I guess that makes sense. You wouldn't want to knock Smallman out with a fake contact. All right, well played. There's a
Does
bug.
make
It's
sense.
visible.
There's the bug. It was definitely visible. But no shot coming off yet. Rob, of course, is a very strong mission counter. Probably aware that we don't have real. Is probably assuming that even if that was a bug, we are not done yet.
Yeah, and I wonder, I mean, the laser kind of snapped in and then stood still after that bug. That's the kind of reaction you might have if you think you saw it, but you don't think there's a reason to shoot yet. And now, Nebula doing a lot of very conspicuous idling out in front.
Wait, that wasn't even a bug. It didn't take.
It didn't take. No, it didn't take.
Oh, that's rough. That's real rough. There's a timeout as well. Nebula, realizing the time is ticking down without that mission in pocket, is going to add the time there. It's a green test, which is helpful, but yeah, I don't think Nebula's in a very good spot right now.
Not at all. Going into books, we'll pick up a fingerprint, and the shot immediately from Rob, just waiting for any excuse, and finds one.
Yeah, that missed bug. That was it right there.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that bug right here, from the Spy side, it feels okay. You feel like you must have a lot of cover there from the conversations, but the truth is that from the Sniper side, you really don't. There's this kind of gap right in the middle of those conversations. Arm is visible extension. It's only for a second, but with these players, a second is kind of all it takes.
Yeah, and again, I really like the thought, but I mean, without pinpoint execution in a match like this, you're not going to get away with those kind of plays.
All right, well, Rob now has a chance to try to start bringing this back. Only one set behind, so like all it takes is one break serve, and we'll be right back into this. We have seen in the Champions bracket snipers succeeding at much, much higher rates than we saw in Challengers. Challengers, it was almost, I think, exactly 50-50 if you kick out Library. That has not been the case from what we've seen in Champions. So Rav, still in a difficult spot, playing as Bling Twin on Taeyen, looking to bring the set back 6-6 in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in. I mean, Taeyen, especially for newer players, is very hard to get a handle on. But I feel like that for a lot of top-end snipers, they feel like it's actually pretty strongly sniper favored. I know we've kind of addressed that a little bit with the variant layout here that we're using in SMC, but even so, I think Taeyen is surprisingly sniper favored at higher levels.
Well, here comes Rav, 51% flirt, like you kind of expect to see at this point. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we just timer flirt this. Taeyen, not that hard to get missions done pretty quickly. These players, Nebula's had a lot of success with Bug, that last game maybe aside. Rav has had some as well, so a Bug on Taeyen obviously is kind of bread and butter, but it's bread and butter for a reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of players, led by Obi Rights, of course, say that Bug is the best and most important mission in the game, because a good player, a good spy, can get Bug basically anywhere, even against very good snipers.
Not going to attempt any kind of purloin here in the back, so we're just going to walk back over to our seduction target. This will not be a 2 flirt, and we've been highlit.
That might just be a twin differentiation highlight.
That's fair, that's fair. But other twin has a book, so it's not really that fair. 99%.
Oh, 99%. Yeah, that's... You hate to see it. 2 minutes left here. As you say, the mission progress not as important as it would have been on, say, Veranda, but still, you would like to see Rav do a little bit more, as I think we've rejected 2 drinks now?
100 seconds coming up on the clock. 99% flirt and nothing else to show.
Look at this extreme angle, by the way. Nebula
It's a
taking on
swap.
the
It's a
ambassador.
swap, an instant put down. Rav cheesing the statue. We were visible through the shoji. I'm not sure how much we were being looked at, but now we have a statue swap in the books. And
Yeah,
I don't know if Nebula's seen this.
The sniper angle, just zooming in on Ambassador so much, just selling out to guard that Bug. Rav, noticing, decides to go for that cheeky swap. As you say, it was slightly visible, but yeah, if you're paying attention to Ambassador at all there, you might not even notice Rav leaving that statue.
Yeah, I mean, you have this internal clock of how long someone, quote, has to, and we've been
We're
lit!
We get low lit!
Okay, so Rav, I mean, if Rav feels that laser, there's no way you feel that laser is a low light, right? After you just G-swap behind Shoji?
Well, if you cheat shot behind Shoji, right? You either got away with it or you're dead.
Banana
And
bread.
we're not dead. Maybe you know, maybe you have a good feeling that you are not a suspect here. But Rav has 30 seconds. Rav has to make a move here to finish this game.
No
And he
purloin
has to do
chain.
it basically now.
And we're leaving.
No.
We're going to books?
Is Rav going bookshelf to bookshelf? With 22 seconds left, that's the only option.
That's exactly
Rav,
what we're doing.
immediately going to go bookshelf to bookshelf. As a low light, can Nebula find this shot?
Pone talked about Nebula's lowlights, and it happens!
Yes!
Nebula finds it!
Nebula, watching the low lights, finds the shot!
How?
Both twins were low lit. Nebula, doesn't matter, is watching them anyway. And credit to Rav for feeling that low light, but somehow Nebula does find that shot.
I just want to go back to this cheese swap because it's exactly as you described. We're a highlight here, and Rav sees this laser forced to the far right rotation, goes for this. Here's the full sniper view. You can't even see us. Very end.
I am flabbergasted by that shot. That is like Pwned pulling out the prescient low light shot early at the beginning of this set is just paying off so much right now because, good lord, that was. I don't have words to say just how impressed I am.
Well, this is the spy party we all came to see. I think it's fair to say Taeyen splits in favor of the snipers, and now we're heading into Redwoods, which is Rob's final pick. Now, if you needed a venue that was kind of swingy and cheesy and cheeky and gave you opportunities to play as spy, I mean, this is one of them, right? Rob absolutely can try to lock this down, but it's going to have to start on the sniper side, and it's going to be starting off with Nebula playing as Wheels, Rob on the sniper. Nebula 1 point away from securing the draw. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alright, Nebula going with Wheels now. No pearls pick because of course there's no green purloin to take. Gonna take the long route around to start things off at books.
Yeah, we'll pick up at least one inspect. Queen is currently blocking the other one.
Yep, but of course, this being Redwoods, you can certainly go pick up the other books, and we're gonna go for the, well, we'll pick up that other... No, we're gonna go for the microfilm. I thought we were gonna get that second inspect, but instead, we're going to green microfilm. I think it's clean.
Completely clean.
Like
No way you could see that from the sniper side. We have the highlight for the inspect, I suppose, but Nebula has a microfilm in pocket.
Yeah, with that said, we were clearly seen at the books, so if we go back to red or something later on, I feel like Rob will be able to credit that.
Nebula having a little bit of trouble getting onto this pad, but Redwoods is the kind of place where even some of these snipers are going to have a hard time catching that, given how much they have to prioritize mission sites. It's a white flirt, though, from Nebula. We see it again, and now Nebula on Redwoods, which has a punishing clock, is going to have to try to make up for that. He's going to start off heading into this statue. Sure, why not? We'll pick up another inspect.
Yeah, and that could potentially throw Rob off a little bit, because in his mind, Nebula might already have this statue done, so why go back to it?
Why, indeed. Well, it's a quick inspect. I'm not even technically... Okay, now we were seen at that statue, but only very briefly. And we're coming over to the bookcase. Look at this camera work from Nebula. You'll love to see it. And this is going to be our transfer attempt, but this is a very exposed place to do it if we take the book and just do it right here at the bookcase.
Yeah, it is tough. And we are going to. It is visible. The arm movement, very visible on camera. If Rob is paying attention to that, Rob might just be looking for another excuse to shoot. Or not. Or Rob will just shoot there.
All right, Rob locking down Redwoods, having no trouble with that. And, you say the arm movement was very visible. I'm sitting here staring at it thinking, like, I couldn't see a dang thing through these trees.
Yeah, but look at the camera angle here from the sniper. Like, the arm movement, very clearly visible. Even for the green test, like, that's not what a book turn looks like. And Rob has certainly played enough sniper games to know.
All right, well, Rob's keeping the set close, never quite managing to bring it back, but staying alive, and now has a chance to do it on the spy side of Redwoods. Again, Rob's pick. Get into this game. Rob playing as Sick. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
You know what the spy set reminds me of from Nebula? It's sort of some of the Puffgate games from years past, where he would come into a game with a very specific plan. Like, especially with the character picks, it really felt like Nebula was going to go for some sort of book, something or other in that game, picking Wheels. And we've seen that as well with sort of the prolonged purloin play with pearls as well. It definitely feels like Nebula's entering each game with sort of a game plan here.
Nebula paying a lot of attention to Ambassador here. Of course, you have to do that on Redwoods. And Rob just sitting here near the Ambassador trying to timer flirt, but unfortunately, it won't happen as the seduction target does walk away, resetting the cooldown.
Yeah, Rob has definitely been playing a little more slowly than Nebula for the most part. A little more maybe deliberately, you would say. Whereas Nebula has been pulling off sort of the more flashy spy plays. Rob definitely sort of just pacing a bit. Oh!
What?
That bug was disgusting!
What?
I don't even... The stop was so good. The ambassador walks by the wrong arm. I didn't even know you could do that.
Okay, well, Rob has pulled off what might be my favorite bug of the set so far, maybe one of my favorite bugs of the tournament, and now has 2 minutes to try to finish off on Redwoods.
That was so gross. Well, there's no way that was seen, right? The angle was perfect. How can you possibly suspect that as being a bug? This is just gross, and suddenly Rob can just slow or soft tell his way to victory, especially as we pick up the second print here. We can do this silently. This is a silent game.
There's Prince done. Rob gonna take this all the way back. Bit of an off-angle return, but like at this point as Nebula, like if you're gonna find a way to shoot Rob, I mean, what else could you possibly ask of the man?
I don't know how you possibly find a shot here. Like, especially if we hit this green test.
Okay, we're highlight,
we're highlight for finishing inspects, but yeah. Rob's just going to go in for the win right here. That's the flirt. You have to shoot for a 4th inspect. I can't see how Nebula takes a shot.
And that's Rob tying the set with that game, bringing us 7-7 going into the final 2.
This set has lived up to the billing and then some.
Like, just to make it clear what happened here, because it took me a second to even figure out how this happened. Here comes Rob with the briefcase. Ambassador's just to our left for long enough for the left arm to trigger as we put the briefcase down. I mean, what a bug.
That's not only knowing the mechanics of the game very well, but being able to take split-second decisions to take advantage of the game giving you something.
All right, well, that means we are headed into our final 2 games with the score tied for what might be one of the most decisive matches in Champions Groups between the winner of the Winter Cup and the winner of the Summer Cup. It's all going to come down to this. Nebula on his final spy game of the match, playing as Disney. Rav on his final sniper game, both players looking for a sweep on Nebula's singled pick of Gallery. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We could call this match 2 cups, 1 cup.
Well, Sped Monkey, it's been a delight having you on stream. Nebula here, gonna try to chase our selection target down, does not want to be in a position of not having flirts done, and here it is. Nebula has a chance to pull this flirt whenever he so chooses.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nebula has played a lot of Gallery. Like, my impression of Nebula's sort of marathon sets on Gallery with Sauerkraut is that Gallery is a favorite of the marathon sets that they play. So I feel like Nebula maybe has played more Gallery than just about any player in the game currently.
All right, well, here comes a pair of inspects. It's very quick. But it earns us a highlight, and we're just going statue to statue. Nebula wants to finish this set right here, right now.
Yeah, and having that one mission done early on here, not the worst thing in the world at all, especially so early on, giving the sniper sort of a chance to forget. Not the worst place to be in whatsoever.
2 minutes 50 left here. We have so much progress for this place on, for this time on Gallery. 2 minutes 40 left on the clock. We have 1.5 missions done. Nebula waiting for something, and I'm not sure what, but we have time to wait.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like, there is openings in that back conversation circle. We could go pick up a second flirt here or banana bread, but are we looking for just a better spot in the conversation circle, or we're just looking at the books? Okay.
Books, it will be a little bit of a quick pickup, but Toby has to turn away.
Yep. We've seen a lot of book shenanigans from Nebula in this set. Nebula clearly trying to prioritize microfilm things, but nothing happening here. We're just going to put that book back innocently.
Yeah, and so now, okay, Nebula does manage to find a spot in this conversation right next to our selection target, so... chance...
Who immediately leaves? All that time waiting for nothing.
Well, the double agent is here, so my question is, do you take this contact?
It's so not good, though. Nebula agreeing is not going to take it. We're going to the statue. This has to be a swap, right? I don't think there's a print on it. We get low lit as we green swap.
No!
What? Oh, no.
no! Oh no! Now this is the kind of thing that you can absolutely recover from, because if you see the swap, you have a very decent chance, I think, of remembering of who you low-lit. The question is, what does Nebula get up to while that's happening? We do finally hit the 2 flirt. We're not going to go for this bug. It's the classic gallery.
Banana bread. We have the banana bread. We're going to banana bread to distract. Pearls is picking up the statue. Pearls gets low lit. Pearls is going to swap for us while these low lights come off. There it is. The fade visible. One low light comes off.
We're not looking.
Rav can't shoot for this. Rav is not going to shoot for this. Nebula's going to pick up another spy win. And suddenly, match point in Nebula's pocket here after the 3rd spy win of the set for him.
What a remarkable finish from Nebula, just going in for the swap. And I think Rav's going to be kicking himself for that low light, thinking, you know, like, I don't think that person's going back to statue a 3rd time. But that's the price you pay if you're not willing to watch those lowlights super carefully. The banana bread distraction knocks out the swapper, but also knocks out the attention. And now Rob going to be fighting for a draw, and Nebula 1 sniper game away from winning this set in the SMC Champions groups.
Well, clearly all of the casting talent are bad at predictions, but let's just see how wrong.
All right, well, we'll get into the game. It will be the final one of this set. Rav playing as Alice. 4 minutes on the clock. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Wow. Well, if we thought there was pressure before, now the pressure must be... I can't even come up with a good word to say how much pressure there is, and it's kind of showing as Rav fails to hit that green test.
I think that's absolutely right. You know, Rob has been hitting those greens consistently in this set, and now you're on gallery where that flirt matters a lot, and you're going to need to do 3 of them.
Yep. And of course it is early, we still have time to deal with this, but Rob not playing aggressively, as we've seen, not taking this sort of purloin opportunity, just going to take the innocent drink once again.
3 minutes 18 on the clock. We enter conversation with the SDA and our seduction target. And look at all the attention being paid outside as the ambassador's bouncing around. You can see Nebula trying to split between Toby and Ambassador to keep everything in check. Ambassador will finally make that a little bit easier for us. We do hit 65% on the flirt with a 2nd white. Rob's going to need a green to even 3 flirt this. It's falling apart for Rob at this point. We need a turnaround of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, again, 3 minutes still to go. It's not the worst, but this is not the greatest position either. We're not high lit, so that's good for us, of course, but that's because we haven't done anything.
Coming in on 2 minutes 30. We still have 65% flirt. We still are just standing in this conversation. Ambassador's not going to give us any kind of opportunities. And if you're off here, I mean, you must feel like you've used everything you have in this set. It's game 16. It's all on the line for you. And yeah, I think books, at this point, you gotta try something.
I'd point out as well that we have not seen any civ shots in this set from either player, so you can't bank on that. If you're Rav here, you have to get missions done if you're going to win.
Here's the transfer.
Yep, it's a green test. There's pretty decent cover there from Toby and from Wheels taking a drink there, so that looked okay, and that's fine. But there's still so much left to do. This hill is so tall yet.
Rob just looking to secure the draw and going into statues now. Okay, so this is our plan. We have 100 seconds. I don't think we'll be seeing the swap here, but we do at least take a set of inspecs.
Yeah, seeing the swap again, just running it back like that would be a choice, and Rob's not going to take that choice, which I respect. But look at all these white tests coming out from Rob as well. Like, I don't know if that's the pressure or fatigue or what, but we're seeing a marked difference here from the beginning of the set especially.
Here comes the 2nd animation. We are high lit. That probably
But
means...
the microfilm animation has to come, but the camera tilt to look at it. There's the arm and ponytail swing visible. The shot comes off, and Nebula will find the win!
Nebula wins this set 9-7, his 2nd win, which is 9-7. And with that, Nebula, I think, pretty much mathematically punches his ticket into the champions bracket with his second win in the group.
Yeah, that's so huge. Like, I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, we said at the beginning that this is going to be a close set either way, and I said that my heart said Nebula would win. So clearly the lesson is that I should never listen to my brain ever again.
All right, well, congratulations to Nebula, and of course, GG's to both Nebula and Rav for a truly blowout set. Before we get into what's still coming up, Pwned, can we get you back on here? Just what did we see in the bottom half of this set that really set the tone for the match?
I feel vindicated. Not as an analysis or predictor, because congrats to Nebula, big GG's on winning a set that we all predicted Rav to win. But a lot of the things that I mentioned did happen. We saw 2 low-lit spies, Nebula able to shooting a low-lit spy, and Rav not being able to do so in those crucial Redwoods games. And then with the finish here, I mean, Rav's moment here was a bug. That fantastic Redwoods bug, despite the fact that he's lost the set here, will probably still go down as the best bug of the tournament so far, and has got to keep an eye on it if it's the best bug of the whole tournament. That being said, you don't get money. You don't get this $1,000 for good bugs. You get points for winning. You get money for winning, and Nebula's pulled it off here. This isn't a guarantee for them to go into the next round, but with Lev Trotsky, Lev T as their next opponent, it would need to be a pretty handy loss to Lev T, who I think they're going to go into pretty favored, and then a 3-way tie between people who are 2-1, including Lev. And I don't think people are necessarily expecting Lev to beat both Nebula and also either Legorv or Rav. For Rav, losing here to Nebula isn't a be-all, end-all either. They just need to be winning the other 2 games they have against Legorv and Lev, and they're more than capable. We've now seen Rav's second loss in the last 8 months, 10 months, basically in 2022. I don't think that this is necessarily going to cause a lot of tilt or a lot of issue. Both these players played really well, and you shouldn't be losing sleep over this loss if you're Rav.
All right, well, that's what we've got coming up. Now, if you enjoyed this match, you'd like to see some more, I've got great news for you. We have another cast in the Champions Round Robins happening today. It will be Sauerkraut versus Meteoric in the top group, and that is happening in just about an hour. It's going to be happening in 67 minutes right here on this channel. So go grab some food, take a little break, watch back some of the amazing plays in this cast. The VOD will be published on this channel as soon as the stream ends, or a couple minutes after. But until we come back, Pwned, thank you so much for being on. It was a pleasure hearing what you had to say.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
And SpedMonkey, thank you so much for being on, and you and I will be back here in just about an hour.
Yeah, I'm going to go get some water, and I will see you back here real soon.
All right, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you back here soon. Everybody take care, and until next time.